Hello friends, good to see you again through this video today. Today I wanted to talk about one question. What happens when we doubt God's guidance? See, when we talk about God's guidance, God says in Psalm 32 verse 8 that I will instruct you in the way you should go. I will teach you the way. I will give my counsel upon you. So when God is willing to give us the guidance for our life, how much we are able to follow His guidance, right? It is very important that we have to follow His guidance until the very end. Because many times what we do, it is easy for us to get started in following something, but it is very, very important to persist, to remain in that guidance until the end, so that whatever the desired result that God wants to achieve in our life will come through only when we stay faithful until the end, or only until we follow the guidance of the Lord until the end of our life. So today I wanted to share one important question. So what happens when we begin to doubt God's guidance? So why we should not doubt God's guidance is what I wanted to share today, based on one instance that happened in the Bible. So if you read in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 14, so there we see an instance. If you read from the verses like 28, 27 to 31. So here I'll give a quick background about what's happening here. The disciples of Jesus Christ, they were all going in a boat in a sea, and Jesus was in the shore at that time. So as these people were traveling in the sea, what happened? There was a great storm and there were a lot of winds, right? All of a sudden the boat began to shake violently, and they were all about to see a boat wreckage, right? Or a ship wreckage like that. So at that time, they were calling to the Lord out of distress, and they are asking, Lord, please come and help us. Please come and save us. So what happened? Jesus started to walk on the water now. And they were all even more terrified now. They got even more afraid, because nobody has seen a man walking on the water, just like how he can walk on a floor, right? But Jesus started to do that, and He was approaching them. And He said, do not be afraid. It is me. I am coming to you. Don't be afraid. But still they were all afraid. But Peter alone, he had this courage. He said, if you read in Matthew 14:28, it says, and Peter answered Him, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. And Jesus said, come, Peter. So Peter got out of the boat, and he started walking on the water, and he started coming towards Jesus. See, this verse teaches a very important principle in our life. When Jesus calls you and me to do something, right? Or when we are being called out by the Lord to do something, even if it is something beyond our capabilities, even if it is something beyond our natural abilities, the Lord will enable us and strengthen us to do it. See, take for example in this verse, when Peter came out of the boat, he started walking on the water as if just like he was walking on the floor. He was a fisherman for so long, and he knew the only way to survive in the ocean is you have to swim, right? You cannot walk on the sea, right? You will obviously drown. But how this has been possible? Because when Jesus calls you to do something, when Jesus has approved you to do something, He will give that supernatural ability and strength, and it will be even surprising for you, yourself and also people around you. How is this possible in my life? How this has been happening in my life? That is how we will realize the omnipotent power of God working in our life. So that is the first thing, right? So as he was trying to walk towards, Jesus, he was walking on the water. It could have been a great experience for him. And now what happens after, few minutes, after a few while, this is what he is doing. Now Peter, when he saw the wind, he was afraid and beginning to sink. He cried out, Lord, save me. So we need to understand this verse in a better way, because in our life today, we are also doing the same kind of things like how Peter did on that day. See, as I said, when God has called you and me, when God has given us a guidance to walk in a path that He has set before you and me, what He is asking us to do. If you read in the book of Hebrews chapter 12 verse 1, He says, look unto Jesus, who is the author and finisher of faith, and run your race that is set for you in this world. So you and I, we are called to run the race in this world, finish a fight of good fight by by just looking unto the author and finisher of our faith, who is Jesus Christ. So when our focus shifts from Jesus Christ to anything else, that is when we are going to stumble in our race. That is when we are going to feel the burden. That is when it is going to be hard and difficult for us to complete the race. So today, that is what happened. As Peter was walking towards Jesus, looking unto him, fixing his eyes upon him, now all of a sudden he is trying to see the waves, the storms, the wind that is surrounding them. So the moment he saw the wind, now what happened? He began to he began to be afraid, right? And then once he began to be afraid, then he began to sink. So these three stages are very, very important in our life also. So as we walk in God's guidance, we always take the step of faith. We are so energetic to begin something new. But as we walk, what happens? Sometimes some difficult situations, some unexpected circumstances, scenarios come in our life. So when our focus shifts from Jesus to those circumstances, what happens? We begin to see the circumstances and we begin to get afraid of those circumstances, and eventually we are defeated by the circumstances, and we feel as if we are sinking down, as if the circumstances is trying to overcome us, right? So at that point of time, Peter cried out and said, Lord, save me. Lord, please save me. So today, my dear friends, even in our life also, most of the time we repeat the same kind of mistake. Instead of focusing on Jesus Christ, who is greater than all the forces of earth, who is greater than all the pain and the problem and or anything that is facing our life today, the Lord is capable of overcoming anything in our life, because he has been given the name above all names. But today, many times we also tend to focus on the circumstances or the situations happening around us. We feel they are all negative, we feel they are all acting against me, and because of that, fear comes in our life. And when fear creeps in our life, automatically we begin to feel like as if we are sinking down. But we need to, when we cry out to the Lord, even at that point of time, Peter, when he cried, what Jesus said? This is what he says. If you read Matthew 14:31, Jesus immediately reached out his hand and took hold of him, saying to him, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?" Today the Lord is asking the same question to you and me. Whenever we doubt the hand of the Lord, whenever we doubt the presence of the Lord, the guidance of the Lord in our life, it is the same question the Lord is asking you and me. Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10, he says, do not be afraid. I am going to be with you. I will uphold you with my right hand, and I will be your helper. See, there are a lot of promises where God has assured us of his presence in our life, his continuous guidance, his continuous protection in our life. So when we don't believe those promises that he has given, or when we don't believe that he is an omnipotent sovereign God, that is when we tend to fear over the circumstances that is looming against us. So today, my dear friends, as Peter did, when he saw the winds, he began to be afraid, and then he began to sink. Today, let us not feel afraid of the circumstances. Let us not first even see the circumstances. Always fix your eyes upon Jesus Christ, because he is the hope. He is the only way, who can bring all the, deliverances that, we are expecting in our life. When he goes before us, right? When we allow Jesus to go before, right? He breaks all the, obstacles, right? He clears away all the obstacles, and he knows exactly the path and the way in which he should take you and me. So today the question before you and me is, are we doubting the guidance of God? Are we doubting his greatness, his omnipotent, his sovereignty in our life? Many times we fail to realize, we fail to experience his presence, his power in our life, because we don't believe that we serve such an awesome God, or we serve a God who is who is capable of doing anything in this world. The whole world was created by his word, right? Just by his word, everything in the creation that we see has been created, which means how much powerful God that you and I serve today. So it is completely not acceptable in our sight to doubt the capability of God, or to to doubt the guidance of the Lord, or to doubt the sovereignty of the Lord. That is why today we need to ensure that in our life, as we journey in this life, as we run our race, looking unto the author and finisher of our faith, Jesus Christ, we can be assured that the Lord is there to help us. The Lord is willing to take care of us. The Lord is always there beside us, so that we don't need to worry about the circumstances or the situations that are acting against us. When we live in that kind of a mindset, when we live with that assurance that my Lord is there to take care of me, definitely you and I will feel that inner peace in spite of having a difficult and challenging situations and circumstances around us. May the Lord bless this word. You all have a blessed and a happy day. God bless you.